details with you guys, but like changing some of the titles on his YouTube, like in my own words. He's like, all of it's I was like, does that make sense? So focus on titling, like. Right before my 25th birthday, that's when I found out I was pregnant. So abortion, that was his initial reaction. So it was like him saying it made it feel okay in my mind. And so I had an abortion right before my 25th birthday. I went through it by myself. I didn't tell anybody. I told him, but other than him, nobody knew. At that point in my life, I feel like I had labeled myself a murderer, like to that extreme, and didn't feel like I deserved love or just acceptance from anybody. Things just kind of really spiraled from there. Like, it was like my 25th birthday. Woke up on the yard. I had partied all night, done coke all night, and woke up in this yard and was like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing with my life? And I just remember thinking, like, something's gotta change. Like, I've gotta get out of here. I didn't want to be in Ohio. I didn't want to be in my town. I felt like I was gonna, like, end up rotting there if I stayed there. And I had been managing a hair salon for about, like, 7 years. So I just applied to a bunch of positions in the South. And when I left Ohio to move to Charlotte, I felt like this was gonna be my new start. I was gonna start over, and nobody knew me there, and I could be a different person, and that didn't happen. You know, the same struggles, the same problems followed me to Charlotte. I used to drive, so I didn't know anybody, didn't have a lot of friends. So I would drive, and I would go to Barnes & Noble, and I would, like, read books, just sit in Barnes & Noble and drink coffee and read. Well, I had driven past Providence High School several times on a Sunday, and the elevation flags were out there. One Sunday morning, I just woke up, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go today. The first thing that stuck out to me was there was a Foo Fighters song playing, like, as I was, like, making my way to my seat. And I was kind of like, what in the world is this place? And then I remember a video of Pastor Stephen getting his hair dyed.
I remember that shoot because we were going to a salon, and I remember it was after hours that night. Nobody's in the salon except for the owner. Pastor Stephen says, I'm gonna go get my hair bleached, and we're gonna talk about the process of going from, one season to the next or one scenario to the next. And I remember just thinking, I hope people think this is great. And it makes sense to them because I feel real silly here. We're 3 guys shampooing his hair in the salon.
Because I had worked at salons for so many years, it, like, literally was a moment where I was just like, okay, God, you, like, know I'm here right now. Like, and it kind of just was like a pay attention kind of moment. And I was like, okay, I'll pay attention. I come back the next week during the Made series.
We had scheduled to bring somebody in to preach that weekend.
They said there was going to be this, like, former mafia boss speaking that day.
I'm going to tell you this. If God can change my life, and if God can save me, if God can change my heart, then believe me, okay, he can do it with anyone here.
That was what I needed to hear, because that's how I felt. Like, I felt like there was no transforming me. There was no, like, turning back. This was who I was. And so to hear somebody else's story of what God did, like, that was exactly what I needed in that moment. So after he spoke, Pastor Stephen came up and, like, gave an invitation.
And if you've never given your life to Jesus, I want to invite you to do that right now. I'm talking to those of you who have done despicable things that keep you awake at night. I'm talking to those of you who have been deceptive, those of you who have lied. Maybe you've been through 2 divorces. Maybe you've had an abortion and you spend your nights lying awake thinking about what that child would have been.
Maybe you've had an abortion and maybe you've lost all hope. And it was speaking directly to me, and that was the day that I gave my life to Christ.
we decided we wanted to actually bring Cherish on the staff, and we knew the risks. I mean, here's somebody who had come through a lot, but in a lot of ways, being fire tested like that is what gives her the character to be really successful on her staff.
And I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Like, that's what was crazy about it, is like God took me and put me as a video project manager.
So if I went back and told that 26-year-old girl who walked into Providence High School broken and feeling worthless that one day she was going to be a part of
Traveling to Israel and shooting on the Emmaus Road, or the live recording at Time Warner Arena, seeing worship leaders on stage with emojis on their faces, or being a part of Follow, where we saw thousands of people get baptized in 2 weekends, or traveling to Abbey Road Studios to shoot music videos with the worship team, or going to Africa, where we got to meet several of our outreach partners.
I would have thought that you were crazy, that there's no way that a girl with my past would be on a church staff or was qualified to be a part of any of those projects.
But it all started as a simple Foo Fighters song, a video that was taken in a hair salon, and a mob boss.
God met me where I was, and now I get to play a part in creating projects that reach people right where they are.
I mean, we want to reach people, all kinds of people, normal people, and they don't just live in a church bubble or a little like Christian circle. They are watching movies and listening to the radio and watching the same TV shows that we're watching. So we can't just try to reach people who have kids who are named Moses and Zephaniah or something like that, or memorizing the books of the Bible. You have to try to reach normal people who live normal lives in a language that they can understand.
The fact that God used this church to change my life, and then that now I get to have even a small part of it, it doesn't make any sense. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't get to do this, but he's put me here, and he's allowing me to thrive here and to take what he did in my life and pass it on to somebody else. It doesn't make any sense that he would take someone like me, take my life, my history, redeem it, and then allow me to be a part in letting that happen in other people's lives. It doesn't make any sense, but he does.